Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And today, as we continue our movement backwards through the alphabet, we're in the letter H's, and we're not dealing with a composer. We're dealing with a thing. That thing is the harp. Now, I've always said I am an absolute sucker for harp music. I think it's a fascinating, amazing instrument, extraordinarily complex in its modern version. You know, it has 7 pedals, and I don't know if you know how a harp works, but hundreds of moving parts. You know, you think it's just like a Celtic thing. You know, you pick the harp and you go plink, like, no, not a bit. The way the harp works is that it has each string representing a pitch class, like C. C is a pitch class, and each pitch class has 3 members: C, C sharp, and C flat, which in our scale is B. But you could have D, D sharp. Well, it's, you know, D flat. It's very complicated. Very, very complicated. And each one of those pedals connects to one of those strings, all the strings throughout the entire instrument, which has about, I don't know, between 6 and 7 octaves or something. It's you know how big they are, right? And with low strings and teeny high, tinkly, plinkly, plinky top strings. So every single one of those pedals goes to one of those strings, and it goes to a little toggle thing. And that little toggle thing changes the length of the string to alter its pitch. So the F thing can be F flat, which is E, or F sharp, or just F natural, depending on how you set the pedals. And that means that writing for the harp is an entirely different thing from writing for any other instrument, because if you are going to write chromatic passages, that is, things outside the key that you're normally in, there are all kinds of weird pedal adjustments that are required. And there are some things that the harp simply can't play in terms of, notationally and whatnot. And earlier harps were not less complicated. In fact, at the beginning of the 19th century, they were more complicated. They had an 8th pedal, a vibrato pedal. Yes, harps could make vibrato. Well, they couldn't really, but they tried. They had a pedal that attached to a louver that opened and closed. When you wiggled the pedal, went whoa, 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 like this. It was kind of like the tremulant on an organ, supposed to give the music a more vocal character. Did it really work? I don't know. I've seen harps, historical harps. I've actually seen them and plonked them that had the extra pedal. But, it disappeared. It was no point in even pretending, actually. Really a fascinating instrument with a large and varied repertoire. It was extraordinarily popular in its day, when it was popular almost as the piano. And, well, I have lots of harp music because it just really fascinated me. Beginning with this. This is 3 discs of music for harp, Middle Ages to the 20th century, a Vox box with all kinds of harpists and people doing things, but mostly Catherine Michel and some other people here. But let's look at what's in here. It's 3 discs worth. You have the Reinecke Harp Concerto, which is a lovely work, the Saint-Saëns Morceau de Concert for harp and orchestra, which is lovely, and his Fantasy in A minor for solo harp, the Spohr Concertante in G major for harp, violin, and orchestra. That's with Susanna Mildoni, and she's a famous harpist. And Ruggiero Ricci. Then we've got the Ravel Introduction in Allegro. That's disc 1. Ooh, baby. Disc 2. Disc 2 has the Boieldieu Concerto, which is gorgeous, especially the finale. It's in C major, but the finale is kind of in C minor. Very interesting, with an exquisite principal theme. The Dittersdorf Concerto in A major for harp and orchestra. Handel's Harp Concerto, which is also one of the organ concerti. Purcell's Suite, it just says Suite. Irish airs, some Irish airs, and some anonymous stuff My Lady Greensleeves, Vogelweide, Palestina Lied, and all these tunes arranged for the harp. Those are with Elena Polonska harp, partly. Helga Stork plays the harp here too, and Marie-Claire Jamet. And then disc 3, the Glier Harp Concerto, the Pierre Ney Concertstück for harp and orchestra, and his Impromptu Caprice for solo harp, the Debussy Sonata for flute, viola, and harp, and the Roussel's Serenade, one of the great masterpieces, for a harp, flute, and string quartet. What a great collection of harp stuff. Oh, I just love it. So that goes there. Then we've got a 3-disc set of harp things with Susan Drake on Hyperion. Yeah, does anyone remember these? Beautiful. We have Arabesque, romantic harp music of the 19th century. Where a lot of these are transcriptions, of course, because, not everyone wrote music for the harp. We've got music by Debussy, Hasselmans, Parish Alvars. Parish Alvars was a major composer for the harp, and he wrote some terrific music. He really did. Some big works, too. Let's see, Zabel, Posse, some arrangements by Susan Drake herself, Dietzy, and, various people. I mean, most of these composers show up more than once, but it's an enchanting program. It's just delicious. Absolutely perfect for your dental waiting room. Romantic harp music of the 19th century. Again, Echoes of a Waterfall. Ooh, don't you love the titles? Music again by Hasselmans, Parish Alvars. Oh my goodness, who's this guy? Goodfreud or something like that. Felix Good. I can't even see this. Glinka, Thomas. Let's see, more Thomas, more Goodfreud, and Spohr. Yes, his Spohr's variations on Je suis encore dans mon printemps. Oh, it's so romantic. You just want to die. It's incredible. Watching the wheat grow. I'll bet that's exciting. No, it's not watching the wheat grow. It's just watching the wheat. But it might as well be. And then more 19th century harp stuff. Volume 3, right? That was volume 1. Arabesque here is volume 2. Now it doesn't really say what volumes they are, but that's okay. It was 3 discs. Volume 3. Let's see. We have Pierre Ney, Thomas, Fauré. Oh, of course we have Fauré. Let's see. More Parish Alvars, Zabel, more Glinka, and of course the conclusion is Debussy's Clair de Lune with Susan Drake. This is a wonderful series. Lovely music, original music and transcriptions. And then we've got the Romantic Harp. Oh my goodness, on Naxos with Judy Lohman harp. Marcel Grandjeannet. Now Grandjeannet died in 1975, and I happen to have worked in concert with one of his students who played a concerto that he wrote. A big concerto for harp and strings. Absolutely hideous. Oh my gosh, it was just chromatic sludge and nonsense. But anyway, his fantasy on the theme of Haydn, well, that's better. Then Tournier, Nino Rota, his Sarabanda Toccata. Pierre Ney, of course, the Impromptu Caprice. Everyone does that. Falla, Spanish Dance No. 1 from La Vida Breve. Fauré, his Impromptu, Opus 86. And Une Châtelaine en sa tour. The Châtelaine in her tower. Kelly Marie Murphy, harp concerto. And then The Night I Paint the Stars, the cadenza only from that. Prokofiev, Prelude in C, Opus 12, No. 7. Well, there you go. And Carlos Salcedo, well, he was a great harpist, of course, his Ballade, Opus 28. So that's the Romantic Harp. And that is the beginning of the harp collection. There's only one more video in the harp collection series, but I wanted to break it in half because we could savor each clump as they came. So clump number 2 is on the way. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.